बहुत लोग ना डर के साथ एंजाइटी को कंफ्यूज करते हैं या बोलते हैं डर एंजाइटी होती है, डर लगता है तो एंजाइटी होती है. सो व्हाट रोल डज एंजाइटी प्ले इन द एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ फियर?
So, to put it very simply, डर जो चीज है, it's related to something in the past, and anxiety is related to something in the future. They are like two siblings. They're twins, but fraternal twins. एक ट्विन है जो ऑल द टाइम, दीदी पास में ये हुआ, दीदी पास में ये हुआ, दीदी ये हो गया तो मुझे डर लगता है, मुझे नहीं करना है, मुझे नहीं करना है. तो आप यहीं पर स्टक हो गए, मुझे
हम्म.
करना ही नहीं है. दूसरा ये है, कल क्या होगा अगर मैंने ये कर लिया, अगर मुझे ये हुआ तो ये हुआ, अगर मैं कल कैंपिंग पर गई और वहां पे स्नेक आ गई और ये क्या होगा, ये क्या होगा, एज एंजाइटी. एंड द थिंग विथ फियर इज दैट इट इज, you get to know it and you can work around it, but anxiety is what you're still not facing because you still don't know that it is something to do with the future and you're stuck now. And the problem, okay, fear will not attack your body, it will let you live.
हम्म.
Anxiety comes and attacks your body and makes you become so disabled in your own self that it becomes more complicated. So there's a very big
हम्म.
difference between the two. हालांकि fear का एक form है which affects your bodily systems in as a response, and that is phobia. Phobia
हम्म.
is very different from fear. That's a third party to the twosome. Phobia is again bodily response to something. For instance, I'm very very phobic to snakes. I don't have fear. I do have fear of snakes, but I'm very phobic to it. And how do I know I'm phobic? One day, I mean, it was Diwali and I had gone for a run on the beach. So वहां पे I saw a सांप का dead body. I crossed it, and that entire day I had food poisoning type symptoms. And my mother was like, कल रात को तो दाल चावल खाया था. Yesterday was you've not eaten anything to cause this, right? The fear of having seen that snake had an impact on my body, because of which I went into the food poisoning kind of a thing. Then I had to get on to medicines to calm me down over the next 3 days. So that is phobia, which is very different from anxiety, because phobia then allowed me to function and go about. Will I take a trip to the forest? No, because I have my phobia.
हम्म.
But will I not get up and work the next day because of phobia? No, I will still continue my regular functioning as long as I know I am a far cry from my source of phobia. So anxiety doesn't
हम्म.
let you function at all. That's a big difference.
हम्म. राइट. बट लोग जनरली एंजाइटी एक ऐसी टर्म हो गई है कि हर चीज को लोग वी आर एंशियस, आई एम एंशियस, आई एम हैविंग एंजाइटी.
It's, the thing is that anxiety is a real issue in today's day and age, because uh, we're scrolling, we're looking at everything in the now from the perspective of the future. We're not living in the now. So we are not dealing with fears is one thing. We are getting anxious because we don't know about the future. It's again ignorance, but it's about the future.
राइट. तो हमने एक इरेशनल डर के बारे में बात की. तो व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन रैशनल फियर एंड एन इरेशनल फियर? इन दोनों में भी कुछ डिफरेंस है?
जैसे मैंने बताया था, there is no such thing as rational or irrational fears. It comes from judgment. अगर मैं बोलूं, अगर आप बोलोगे आपको कॉफी से डर लगता है, तो मैं जहाँ यहाँ पे बैठी हूँ कॉफी पी रही हूँ, मुझे लगेगा हाउ irrational can you be or scared of coffee, right? But your experience in life has taught you to fear coffee. पर वही चीज पर ऐसे मुझे चाय से बहुत डर लगती है, चाय टॉक्सिन्स देती है, एंड यू से यार मैं रोज सुबह को चाय पीती हूँ, मुझे तो कुछ नहीं होता है. So you'll find my fear of tea irrational. Rationality or irrationality of fears comes from our judgment towards it. What I don't fear is irrational for you to fear. What you don't fear is irrational for me to fear. Let's accept that fear is fear, and we need to work around it. How we react to it is what we need to consider. Are we being rational or irrational in our behaviors, in our reaction, in our response to it?
So क्या हम इस फियर को कैन वी मैनेज और इवन ओवरकम? अगर कर सकते हैं तो कैसे?
Reprogramming of your consciousness is one of the biggest steps towards it, self-awareness. But before that comes acceptance. कि हाँ मुझे ये डर है, चाहे वो आपके हिसाब से, आपके जजमेंट के हिसाब से, चाहे वो irrational हो कि rational हो, मुझे ये डर है. I have this fear. Do I want to work around it? Yes, I want to work around it. How can I work around it? Is through self-awareness and recognizing the root of it. Jad. Let's go to that and gain knowledge about it. Understand it, and then it will fade away from the system because it loses its power and control over you.
Right. So कई लोग मैंने देखा है हॉरर मूवीज से डरते हैं, but still they choose to see themselves that आज हॉरर मूवी देखनी है, and वो डरते भी हैं. तो उसमें क्या होता है कि हम, अगर वो किसी को डर है तो क्या वो उन्हें हॉरर मूवी देखनी नहीं चाहिए, या फिर उन्हें क्या करना चाहिए? What tools or strategies are there to help people that can conquer their fear?
You know, on the horror movie thing, I tell you, it's not so much of fear, but it's a rush. You know, when you're watching that and you're like, and you're in the theater and there are like another 100, 200 people in that theater and everyone's like, you come out feeling so good. It's like therapy. My sister and I used to we used to always get scared of horror movies, and we used to watch it also and go on to a screaming riot. And the next day feels so good and light, and we could not understand ye kahan se, ye kaisa. So horror movie is actually quite therapeutic in its own ways. Trust me. To conquer your fears is acceptance. Gain knowledge about it, understand it, and cultivate courage through it. These are the 3 important aspects to conquer your fears. Don't go into a battle to fight your fears. When you fight it and you resist it, it gets bigger. When you accept it and you work with it, it becomes chotu. Like, क्या है? कुछ नहीं.
तो पहले हम कहते थे डर के आगे जीत है, बट डर के आगे जीत नहीं है, उससे अगर हम कुछ सीख गए तो तब जीतेंगे.
Exactly. So beautifully put.
So हम लोगों को बहुत ज्यादा आजकल, वी ऑल आर सराउंडेड बाय वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल्स, हमारे घर में ही है सब लोग वर्क करें, एंड दे हैव अ कंटिन्यूअस कंपटीशन प्रेशर, एंड they have a fear of failure. So how does the fear of failure impact our pursuit of personal and professional goals?
You know, we fear failure because we fear humiliation that comes with failure. But who take back your powers of others humiliating you and take back the control of you having to humiliate yourself. Look at the self-talk. I'm incapable, I'm useless. Because kahin na kahin teachers, other friends, parents, grandparents ने ये चीज डाली है हमें कि when you fail, you are going to be humiliated and you're not good enough. If you are good enough. Fears are valuable lessons on the journey to success. Trust me when I say this is not just a कहावत. अगर मैं गिरूंगी नहीं तो सीखूंगी नहीं. अगर मैं गिरकर उठ गई तो I've learned something precious. Every great autobiography is written on pages of failures and the lessons through those failures. So stop humiliating yourself and stop giving others the power to humiliate you. Then there is no difference between failure and success. You will congratulate yourself for every failure too, because you've only grown wiser and more beautiful and more gracious and more humble.
Right. So, is there a connection between fear and self-esteem? और अगर है तो उसको कैसे हम मतलब आप एड्रेस करना चाहोगे?
You know, this is pretty complicating, but yes, there is a connection. All of emotions are interconnected to one another. क्योंकि मुझे डर है, I feel very small, and because I feel very small, I have low self-esteem. And the lower the self-esteem, the less I trust myself to come out of this fear. So हाँ, ये सब interconnected है. And it all comes from the fact that I don't feel good enough. I feel too small. क्योंकि वो fear की वजह से we've been taught that you are so small. हाँ, तेरे को डर लगता है इससे. पर हाँ, मैं डरती हूँ. तुमको किसी चीज की डर नहीं है? We have to start honoring ourselves and honoring our experiences of every emotion and build on the self-esteem and say, I'm allowed to have these fears. Now let's work around it. Okay, fear, you've come to scare me. I choose not to be scared. I want to work around and see what you're here to present me with. What do you want to teach me?
Right. Like every problem comes with a lesson. So every fear also comes with a teaching or a lesson.
Interrupt you. My mom once told me that make the bully of your class your best friend, then you won't be bullied anymore. क्योंकि वो बुली का काम है आपको बुली करना, पर अगर आप उससे दोस्ती कर लिया तो वो क्या बुली कर लेगा या कर लेगी.
ये काफी आजकल के टाइम पे this is very applicable because we as mothers of our kids, we don't really tell our kids how to handle these situations. So would you like to share any success stories of individuals who have effectively managed their fears for better emotional well-being?
There are many. And if I count them, it will be like, if I have to enumerate them, it will take like another podcast session of us. To sum up all the cases, it still comes back to the same thing. That don't allow the fear to overpower you. And don't try to overpower the fear. Befriend it. Know it, understand, and cultivate your courage through it. Irrespective of where and what the fears come from. There are so many cases, and I think everyone fears something or the other. Again, I'll go back to one thing that has just come to my mind, and I would like to share that while fear comes from the past and anxiety is related to the future, but you take a step from the past to come into the future. The solutions are in the now. So don't let your fears become your anxieties and complicate your life.
What are emotions? Are they responses or reactions to feelings, thoughts? Are they stored within our body or do they come from outer space? Are they responses to our feelings or our thoughts? What are emotions? Join me, Karishma Chhatrapati, an emotional wellness expert, inspirational speaker, and author, as I take you through a journey decoding emotions so that you thrive in emotional wellness and use emotional intelligence to live your best life ever.